join in on one of these live webinars, we are recording these, and we will actually post the webinar to Basecamp for those of you that would like to go back and review or need to see this at another time. Additionally, in the email that went out today, Steve has prepared a PDF document for us. It's a manual of sorts that actually walks us through how to utilize the system and the new reporting features, and that will be posted on Basecamp as well. I know I had a little bit of trouble linking to that from the constant contact email that went out, so we'll check on that, but we will also post that in the Data and Reports folder on Basecamp for you to have that and download it and print it out and use it at your convenience. So we hope this is a positive step in the right direction. We trust that it is. It will give you more control, more access, and it will give you the opportunity to just do your own analytics and kind of compare where your data is with others of maybe similar size or others in your region, and certainly take a look at where we're at nationally as a Circles movement. So Steve already kind of outlined the format for today's call. David's going to speak a little bit from his perspective as Circles coach. So some additional feedback we'd gotten was we just wanted to make sure that we had our training protocol in place and had training technical assistance provided both in group setting and individual setting for Circle sites. And so David Bash has been very instrumental in helping us out with that over the past year or so, and trains new sites and new staff. And so he offers a unique perspective, being a Circles coach himself and working intimately with the system, and also training kind of new and veteran users on the system and helping with some troubleshooting and all of that. So I'm going to turn this over to him, and then Steve is actually going to go through the demo for us. Hopefully all of you can see that on your screen. We'll be viewing Steve's screen as he takes us through the demo. So thanks for your participation, and David.
Thank you, Marlo. I think I'd like to start off by saying that I really hope that everybody understands that we are here to be a help and support for you. Please never feel that you're being a burden or that you're a problem if you give me an email or a phone call. Email is the best way to reach me because of the time zone changes, but I really want to encourage you, whenever you have a question or if you hit a glitch, contact me and let me know. Some of the things we found over the years of data collection are the importance of getting the progress reports in each period that they're due, after getting ahead 6 months and every 6 months after. If your site has had difficulty getting in progress reports, it would really be helpful if you would contact me or Marlo or both and let us know what's going on and how we can help, if any way, to help you with that process. For example, if we have a turnover in Circles coaches, sometimes there'll be a gap and the Circles coach is not there. The paper reports are collected, but they have to be inputted. The reports you're going to get today are going to include an intervals report that'll tell you for each of your Circle leaders which reports are in the system, so that will be helpful to you in that process. Some of the things that I have discovered in the process of consulting with different sites is the value of going and reviewing the individual reports. When you're actually doing an input, whether it's from a paper document you've received or sitting down with a Circle leader, sometimes the questions appear in isolation and you don't get a chance to look at them in a context. So what I strongly recommend is on the system where it has the indications of Circle leader progress reports completed, on the right-hand side there's a button that says Select. Hitting that Select button will show all the questions of the survey on the left and all the answers on the right. Going through that is very, very useful, especially if you see things that are inconsistent, such as the Circle leader individual has income, but the family doesn't show income. Or if there is a huge figure in one of the blocks that doesn't seem to fit, such as a Pell Grant for $10,000 that's not prorated by month and doesn't take out the tuition and books. Reviewing those progress reports on an individual level allows you to catch those errors that you're going to have when you have outliers that are going to change the report for your entire site. So if you want to go through that process with me, I'll be glad to do that. That's been very useful.
Okay, I'm going to go back to home. I'm going to just check, make sure I don't have anybody with their hand up. Okay. Okay. David, you said that was all?
Pardon me?
That's all you got there?
That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start the reporting part then. If you click on reports, you get a menu now. There will be a new item in there called iZenda Reports. That's the name of the new reporting module. You'll notice that under Generate Reports, we still have the list of reports that's always been there. They're tied to the self-sufficiency part of the program. But we also have the Circle Site Summary Report in Excel, which some of you have gotten used to using. You'll still be able to pull that report and use it. But the new reporting tool is going to make that a little bit obsolete as we move forward. I just wanted to show you that we're not taking anything away with this new tool. We're just adding to it. So if I click on the iZenda Reports, it brings me to the iZenda Report menu, and I can then go to the iZenda Report list. When I go to the iZenda Report list, you'll notice that the first group up here at the top is the Circles Initiative, and there's a list of reports all underneath it here. These are going to be the reports that we're looking at today. These are reports that I have configured ahead of time that have certain parameters available to them, and that's what we're going to look at right now, is how to use those parameters to filter and to look at your data. The zero report here, the Circle Leader Interval Report, is not one that you're probably going to use as far as trying to report on it. You're not going to give this to funders. You're not going to use it with grants that you're applying for. But what it really does is it helps give you a picture of who has filled out which surveys and which progress reports as they're moving through the process. So I'm going to click on it here. I'm logged into Lewiston, Idaho. I click on the Circle Leaders Interval Report. These reports all take a couple seconds to generate. I will just warn you about that ahead of time, but they generate fairly quickly. Now this is the Circle Leaders Intervals Report. If you look at the bottom here, we identify the Circle Leader by ID number. We do this so that we're not, if you're viewing another site, which you'll be able to do here in this first box, you're not going to see the names of their Circle Leaders. You're just going to see them identified by number. So what you will be able to see is how many of them completed before getting ahead, how many of them completed after getting ahead, and how many of them completed a 6-month, 12-month, 18, 30, and all the way out to a, I think it's got the 48-month survey out here at the far end. So you'll be able to see all of those surveys and which ones they have completed. So for example, this first person, number 33885, they have a before getting ahead, and after getting ahead, and a 6-month survey. 33886 has only the before getting ahead survey. They have no other surveys. And so you can look through them here and figure out which progress reports have been submitted and are marked as completed. If we come down here to number 33293, you'll see that they have the before getting ahead, after getting ahead, 6-month, 12-month, 18-month, and 24-month. The reason this is important is a lot of the reports that we're going to look at as far as economic indicators today are based off of having this information available. What we do is we look at a baseline, which in most cases is the after getting ahead report. However, if there is not an after getting ahead report and there is a before getting ahead report, then we use that for the baseline. So the baseline is kind of made up of the before getting ahead, after getting ahead report. Then what we do is we contrast that to the 6-month, the 12-month, the 18-month, the 24-month in order to get the information. So we're looking at how much improvement did they have from their baseline to their 6-month. So if you don't have a 6-month report, they're not going to appear on that 6-month. If you don't have a baseline, they're not going to appear on any of the reports because without a baseline, there's nothing to compare to. So it's very important that as we're going through the process here, that you make sure that you're getting these reports filled out and that they're getting entered. If you have missing reports, please contact David or myself, and we'll walk through with you how we want to handle those missing reports so that we can be as accurate as possible with the outcomes that we're looking at without, actually having to go back and try and figure out, where somebody was at 3 years ago. So we want to be as realistic about it too. If you've missed a report, we understand that we can't go back and just randomly fill those out. Now, as we're looking here, we have two types of selections here. In this top value, as you'll notice here, I'm signed in to Lewiston, Idaho, and I am currently signed in not as an administrator, so the only access I have is to my data. This afternoon, we're going to open this up so that you will have access to see data from other sites. So you'll be able to actually click on and see the list of all the sites, and you'll be able to select from that list whichever site you want to see. In addition to that, you'll notice here we can select this circled candidate. If you click on the little ellipse here, the three little dots, it brings up a box that will say yes or no. In this case, David, all of his people have yes in here for Lewiston, Idaho, so there is no in the box here. But if there had been somebody with a no answer, we could have selected just show me the no answers, just show me the yes answers, show me the yes and no answers. You can do any combination there. In addition to that, right now we're on the ellipse in this last box, but we could actually select and say, just show me the people that were in session 1. So now what I can do is look at session 1, and if I come up here to the update results and click on the button, oh, wrong button. Back to the report list here. Give me just a second. I got ahead of myself just a second there.
Steve, is there any way to look at that interval report with a column that shows their intake status or what the current status is?
I can add that into it. It's not in there right now, but I can add that to that list.
The reason I ask that is that you notice that one person had before and no report afterwards. That tells me that that person did not complete getting ahead. But I wanted to make sure that that shows as being his or her status. Gotcha. Okay, I can add that in. It's pretty simple to go back and modify this really quickly to add those fields in as we're going through this. So I can, as soon as we get off the call here, I'll spend a few minutes and go back and add those in. One of the other advantages is that could have you could sort by or look at them all your circle leaders who are currently active and matched. Right. So here we go. Now I've just filtered it to show me only those circle leaders that were in session 1, and I've got, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 8 of them here. And these are the 8 that David has marked as having been in the session 1. If I want to look at session 2, I can just come down here to session 2. And now it shows me only those circle leaders that were a part of session 2. By using my control key on the keyboard and selecting session 1 and session 2, or let's do session 1 and session 3, now I can look at just those circle leaders that were a part of session 1 and session 3. So we can look at all kinds of combinations of these as we're going through the process here. What are you doing when you hit that one that says results 10? I'm just changing the number of results I'm displaying on the screen. For some reason, on the browser that I'm using today, the update button here is giving me an error on the page. And I'm not sure why that's happening because it was working fine earlier today, but I will look into that. But I've discovered that we can update the number here by just clicking on the results number and moving it to 100. I know I don't have 100 circle leaders in this group, so now it will show me 100 on my list here.
Okay. Check here and see if we've got any questions at this point. If you do have a question, see if I can get to it here. Marlo, are you or David either one seeing this question? I see that Cassidy has a question. I just can't see it. I'm going to unmute you, Cassidy. Let's see if this works. Cassidy, can you talk now?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we're hearing you now.
Okay, no, it was just about the results button, but I got it.
Okay, you got the answer there. Okay, thanks. I'm not sure why we're not seeing this on our dashboard here, but it's not bringing up the question properly. So, okay, I'm going to mute you again and then move on here.
Okay.
Okay. When you're done with this, if you want to print this report, you can hit print, and it will generate the report as a PDF file. PDF files are generally universal as far as a way to save a document. So they print it out here. It becomes printed just like this. I can go File and Print. I can save it as a PDF file. I have a bunch of options at that point. If I want to use this report in another software, let's just say I want to use it in Microsoft Excel, I can click on the Excel button here, click it, and now it opens this in Microsoft Excel. And then I can actually manipulate the data here and work with it from that standpoint. So it gives me my options to work within Excel. So now if I want to reformat it or change it or reorganize it, I can do that. It gives me all of the options to do that kind of stuff here in Excel then. If you're not using Excel and you happen to have OpenOffice, it will export to OpenOffice too. I don't have OpenOffice installed on this computer. It will also export to Word. And there it is in Word. So you have a lot of options for exporting the report to different formats so that you can then work with those formats and create what you need for funders or whatever other groups you might have.
This is particularly good for coordinators and coaches to review the status of their entire site.
Yeah.
Progress reports.
Okay, I'm going to go back to the report list here. Let's pull up the next report here. The next groupings, I've used numbers to group them. And number 1 here automatically identifies that it's income related. Number 2 identifies the public funds, the usage of public funds. The number 3 indicates assets, and the number 4 indicates debts. I'm going to start with the national report here and click on it. And I'll show you the format. Now the format for these is going to be the same for all of them. So we can go into each one of them here and look at it, but I'm going to kind of stick with an overview of them for right now, and then we'll take any questions later on here.
Steve, this is Barlow. Just for clarification, anytime I'm running this report, what I'm going to see is total cumulative aggregate based on the point in time when I run it, correct?
Correct. And this is updated on a daily basis. So if you go in and put in a bunch of data this morning, you might not see that. It's actually updated on an hourly basis. So you might not see that until the hour passes for those updates to be made to the data. Now, what this is showing here is down the left-hand side, we have the different periods of time, the 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, 30, and so on and so forth. We have the number of circle leaders that qualify. That means the number of circle leaders that have a baseline and have a 6-month report. We have their baseline total income for all 440 of them, which gives us a baseline average income of $965.05. We have the ending total, which would, in this case, be the 6-month total of $491,000, which gives us an average ending income of $1,117. And then based on that, we have an average increase in income of $152.89, which when you bring that back to the average base income is a 15.8% increase in income. 12 months does the same thing, exact same working. You'll notice the numbers are going down because in each one of these groups we have less people that have made it to that level. By the time we get out to 36 months, we have 3 people that have a baseline and a 36-month survey filled out. So that's why we're seeing the numbers drop here. But this is showing on the national aggregate level what we're seeing here in the data. This report does not have any filters attached to it. It's been set up just as a straight. We show the national numbers, and it's all aggregate, and it's all done right through the report here. So if I go back to report list here, now we have the same report by site. And this one should have filters on it. I'm not seeing the filters here. That's not giving me the filter here. Okay. What it will have is it will have the same filters on it, and I'm going to need to check on this. I must have a security issue with the filters here. But it'll have the same filters that we saw on the intervals report. So you'll be able to filter it by site, by the circle leader intent to continue in circles, and by the session number that the circle leader was a part of. And by filtering on those, you'll be able to get a report here that will show your site. You can compare your site to another site. Again, all of the numbers are aggregate, and they will be just showing like the totals for each of the sites. So if you did it for like Lewiston and David, if you selected Lewiston and Coeur d'Alene and Sandpoint, you would get all 3 of those, would show on the report as a listing of totals, and it would graph them and chart them here.
Okay.
Stephen, yeah.
Interpreting this now, going from column 1, which is the 6-month report, to column 2, which is the 12-month, does that show a decrease in income between those two?
Where now?
Between the first column, which is 6 months, on the graph itself.
Yep.
And the second column,
12 months. The increase in income was actually less during the during the 12 months period.
But it was an increase. So my point is, most people will read that and think that the income went down between the 6 month and 12 months.
Yeah.
That's not showing a decrease in income. It's showing a decrease in how much change, positive change there was.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's a real big distinction, because otherwise it'll look like between the 30-month and the 36-month, they lost income.
Right. Now, this is based on the average increase in income for the people that are in those areas. So this column over here that says average increase in income, I can't highlight it there, but that's the column that we're reporting on when we look at this. So
those are all positives. Those are all positives, and actually could be added together, cumulative, and show that's the overall, the difference from the start to the end. Yeah.
Yeah. And you'll see here that you've only got 9 circle leaders at the 30-month mark, but those 9 have, they started off at 1,131 at their baseline, but they've gotten to 2,001 for their 36-month or their 30-month report, which gives them an $870 increase, average increase in income for that time period. That's why you see the huge jump here. Now, jump back in here. Let's see if this detail report is working. Now, the detail report will just pull up the information for your site, but it will give you all of the information from here for your site. So I'm going to do a couple of filters here, which will make this a much clearer. If I say I want to see all the 6-month reports for income for my site, now I'm looking at just the 6-month reports. Now, you notice I've got names in here so that they're easier to identify who the individuals are. I've got the fact that it is a 6-month report, and then I've got the income that they reported, and this is the sum of all 3 of the income fields, but it shows what they've got reported here. So now I can look through here.
Steve, can I interrupt right there? There's a real important point here now. If you look at this list, you'll notice that one of the circle leaders has 0 as increase in income.
She is not increased.
Pardon me?
This is reported income at 6 months.
Right. Okay, 0 income. But what that doesn't show is she's in college. Okay.
Right.
So that's the other thing. Sorting these by education as the primary source or employment would be very helpful, very useful too.
Okay, I'll add both of those parameters in here so that you can sort by them as soon as we get done too. Now you can also then filter this so you say, I want to see how session 1 did at their 6-month results. So I can look at session 1, and here's session 1's 6 months result. And then I can go to session 2, and there's session 2, and then there's session 3. So you can see the different progressions there, and you can see that you can filter them and look at them. Let's look at the 12 months now from session 3. And there's the 12-month results. So this should make it a lot easier to drill down into the details and find out, especially if you look at your overall numbers and you think there's something wrong, this will give you the ability to drill down to the details of that and find out who's got more income, or look at them here and say, look, this looks wrong for this person or that person. So it'll give you a much better picture of where they're at then. Okay. Come back here.
Another quality control check. You'll notice that there were 2 of them that had the same household income.
Yep.
As a married couple, they should have the same household income. If there's 2 different incomes there for the same household, then there's an error that you need to go back and check.
Right. We'll do public funds here just to show you the difference here. This is now the public funds report at 12 months for everyone. And I can filter it here and get them all at that point. Okay. Any other questions? Lori, I'm going to unmute you. Okay.
Hi, I'm a little bit confused of what David just said with the married couple. So if both of them have individual income, then we should be combining them?
What this is showing is household income, not individual circle leaders' income. Household income is all of the household. Remember on the survey it has 2 sections. One is the individual circle leader's income, and the other is how much the family household income is. This is reporting, what I was trying to point out is this is pointing out household income, not individual circle leaders' income.
Okay, because I think I've done that then, so I'll need to change those on my reports.
The first question that asks monthly income for a circle leader, average the last 6 months, and then the next question is household income, and that would be for all the members of that household if there's a spouse or a significant other.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Lee, I just got Lee's question here. You're planning on participating in the Thursday session. You will need to register again for the Thursday session. There will be a separate ID number for that webinar. So if you're planning on attending the Thursday one, you will need to do that. Or if you have other people in your agency that are planning on doing that, they will need to register independently. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Marlo, any other comments?
I don't believe so, unless anyone else has any questions. We certainly, as we are continuing to distribute this information and utilize the report features more, would like to receive your feedback. So please feel free to post back on Basecamp and or contact David or myself directly with, again, questions, feedback, requests, those kinds of things. I just wanted to clarify, too, in looking at how we publish the national aggregate numbers, we do put out a report annually, and that's based on the data effective the end of the year. And so, you know, we really try to encourage you and have set up tools within the system to provide reminders of what circle leaders are due to update their reports, but we just want to encourage you to just stay on top of that and do the best you can with that because we want to make sure we're including everyone's information to get the best data and most accurate data that we can across the network. So we will be producing a national report after the end of the year that shows, you know, on an aggregate level where we're at. It's slightly different in that what we do on those charts is we take the average income at entry point and we look at where people are at, particularly at 18 months. As you noticed, as we're growing the campaign, that we're getting more and more people involved in data on those folks where we are about to be able to have enough data to make it statistically relevant to look at, you know, 24 months and beyond. And so that's going to be very insightful for us as we look at the progression of circle leaders and their outcomes over time and over the long haul. So I think that's all I have, and just appreciate your participation, and hopefully you'll encourage those on your team who might not have been able to make it today to join us Thursday. So thank you, Steve.
I have one other quick comment here, too. These reports, as we're working on them, are the first round of reports. We have other reports that we're working on, too. And so we will be, over the next month or so, releasing a number of other reports for you, too. I know that one of the ones that we're looking at specifically is the one that shows the improvements reports of improvements in, like, people who started off without transportation and now have a car and stuff like that, so that we can look at some of those and show improvements that are not necessarily financial improvements, but improvements in status as far as how they are progressing towards their goals.
Yes, thank you.
Good. Okay. Well, I will encourage you all that if you have questions, feel free to contact David or myself, and we'll walk you through anything that we can. And you know, we're here to do what we can to help you be successful at what it is that you're doing.
Thank you much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
Bye-bye.
Bye. was. It was about 45 minutes.
So did you remember everything that